Hello, I'm Matt Williamson. What's going on? We are here to break down Brownies at Steelers. I think there's some things that, aren't super tangible that really favor the Steelers in this game. I mean, first of all, Tomlin's been great coming off byes. Tomlin's been great against rookie quarterbacks. Most coaches are, but still, he has a very good track record. I also think that Steelers don't have a win yet at Accushore. I think that, weather's supposed to be good. I'm sure it doesn't matter for you guys. But I'm sure the turnout will be awesome. Rodgers has never won in Pittsburgh. Like, the home field advantage, I guess, is all I'm getting at here. But more than that even is Steelers are coming off a bye, as mentioned. The Browns are coming off a trip to Europe. I think that's really hard on any team. I didn't play football, but I went over there and took me a little while to get back acclimated. And it just takes a lot out of you. And it's not easy to then go on the road, even though it's a short trip from Cleveland to Pittsburgh. They bust it, but still. I think that's asking a lot from any football team. But anyway, let's talk about when the Browns have the football. Judkins drives the whole offense, and he's clearly, in my opinion, their best offensive player. He's very impressive, and they're giving him the ball a ton, as they should. He's not leaving the field hardly at all. A true every down workhorse in a league that doesn't have a lot of those anymore. And he's even better than I thought he was at Ohio State. So he's big, rugged, runs away from people, a feature back. And that's not a term I throw around much. And the interior of the O-line is still pretty good. Not what quite it used to be, but that's going to be the locomotive of the offense, especially with the rookie quarterback. But either way. And speaking of that rookie quarterback, I think you need to rattle Gabriel. Now, he's smaller. He doesn't have a big arm. He does not have a power arm. But he's an anticipatory thrower. And I will say for a one-game career starter, he's also up in age, which is a good thing for him. He's experienced at the college level. That I don't think he rattles super easily. But on the road against a fierce pass rush, I would think you should be able to get in his head a little bit. I'm pretty sure you're going to hit him a lot. Okay. Now, does Austin vary coverages a ton, or does he just play it straight so you don't blow any coverages? I have mixed feelings on that. I'm curious what you guys would think, but I don't think Ramsey's going to play in this game, and that's a really versatile chess piece to, that you won't have at your disposal. I think they're doing everything they can to make sure he's ready for Cincinnati. But who knows? I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, and I don't know that for certain. But it does, your ability to really vary things certainly opens up with Ramsey. So I'm curious what they do coverage-wise, but I bet they blitz a lot, as they have. I like this idea of bringing blitzers off TJ's offside. Speaking of which, their left tackle situation in Cleveland is horrid. They traded for Cam Robinson. They got him in for like 9 or 10 snaps last week. Maybe they'll move to him, but it's a real problem area. Tawad Jones out. So I think Herbig and or Highsmith will feast on that left tackle situation. And it might get to the point where, boy, we got to keep our help to the quarterback's left and then leave Conklin, who's kind of a shell of himself, but he's still a quality pro. One-on-one against Watmore. One thing I like that we've seen lately too is they've brought a pass rusher off Watt's outside shoulder, which makes chipping and doubling him a lot more difficult. And he's getting chipped more than anyone in the league, partially because everyone knows where he's at and he wins so often to the outside that chipping has been pretty effective. But they want to get Judkins the ball, and they want to get the tight ends the ball. So Gabriel only threw 10 passes to the wide receiver position in his first start. I don't know if it'll be that extreme, but they were very, very tight end centric against Minnesota. And they are enamored with Fannin, the rookie move around, Bowling Green tight end, which I just don't quite understand. Njoku's the way better player for me, but they are, a huge key to this team is they're playing rookies like crazy. So Njoku, Judy, I'm not sure if those guys, they made 2 trades this week. I don't know if they'll even last 2 more weeks. I mean, they could get traded any minute now from the Browns. Who knows? I don't know if they will or not, but those guys could be on the block for sure because it's a massive youth movement. And Bond has been the receiver that they're trying to feature, or at least get out there a lot. And Fannin, they're trying to feature a lot. But back to what they're strategically doing. And Stefanski's good at this. It's scheming up the tight ends for run after the catch stuff, quick throws. Really, I think the Steelers were the only team that got the ball out of their quarterback's hands quicker than Gabriel did last week, for the year, how quick Gabriel got it out. So they're the one quick get out throws, run after the catch, mostly to tight ends. Some to the middle of the field, but he's real short and doesn't see the field. Might have a hard time with that, but he is a quick processor. But I want them to key on the tight ends. And they've had some tight end issues, defending the tight end without question. But I think a lot of it is also when Elliott was out. So it's great that he's back.
Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials, so you can join in on all the action.
This might be the best defense in the league. I think I told you this before, but since Schwartz took over as defensive coordinator in the 2023 season, they've been number 1 in EPA and number 32 in offense during that stretch. And it's kind of how they are now. The defense is great. The run defense is great. They play a lot of single high. They play a lot of man. They prefer to stay in their base defense, but they'll, of course, go to nickel and dime like everybody else. They made a cornerback trade. I don't know if that's going to change things or if the new guy is even going to play this week, but that complicates things a little bit from the man coverage perspective. Like I said, a lot of single high, but they're aggressive and they're well coached and their assignment sound and they're talented. And of course, it all starts with Myles Garrett, who's a nightmare. And again, I know you guys hate when I compliment this guy, but I think he's the best defensive player in the league right now. I think as good as he's been in his career, he's been better in 2025. His run defense is the best it's ever been. They move him all over. He wins in a large variety of ways as a pass rusher. He's like 275 pounds. He is a total freak. But it's not just him. The non-Myles Garrett defensive linemen have been really, really good. Now, because of his presence, of course, they get more one-on-one matchups, but still, they're exploiting them over and over. I'm not huge on Mason Graham, but he's been a good contributor. Malik Collins has been really good for these guys, and they have depth. They have 7 or 8 defensive linemen that'll be in and out of the lineup and fresh that are really active. It's a good group. I mentioned that they're going to see a lot of single high. You're probably going to see a lot of man, although a cornerback trade maybe clouds that. Probably not. I think they do what they do. That worries me a little bit. I mean, especially without Austin. Do you have anyone that's a man beater? And frankly, that's not even Metcalf's specialty. It's okay, but not great against man. And he's going to see plenty of it. I would imagine he sees a lot of Ward, who's a really good player, but he's also a lot smaller than Metcalf. Who's that number 2 receiver that's a man beater on this team right now? I could see that being a problem. Will we see a nice dosage again of Anderson as an extra offensive lineman and a high dose of Washington as the true number 1 tight end? If so, I'm sure you'll see some. I don't know that you'll see the degree you saw against Minnesota, who wants to play with smaller people, where the Browns want to play in base. So you kind of play their strengths by putting big people out there, but still. It was very effective. I think it's crazy if you don't use it. But the thing I might lean towards more this week is bringing out that beefy package, but to throw. Again, it's the best run defense in the league, and I'm not saying to abandon the run, But I'm going to ask a lot out of Rodgers in this game. A lot of quick hitters as always. But if I can put Anderson on Myles Garrett's side and double Garrett that way and take shots downfield or just passing in general, I'm up for that. That doesn't mean you don't run out of the big set, but I would think maybe use it more as a wrinkle to throw just because of Garrett and the strengths of this defense. But it would be really nice to get this running game momentum to keep rolling. And what is the division of labor amongst the running backs? I'm not implying Caleb Johnson's going to play at all, but I would assume Warren is clearly the one, but to the degree he was before he got injured, where he's doing almost all the heavy lifting, I don't know. Did Gainwell do enough to get 33% of the touches? Maybe. Just kind of interested in that. I mentioned the Browns defense several times is really, really good. There's two things they don't do particularly well, which if I was in their shoes would scare the heck out of me this week, is their red zone defense, which could be just small sample size and fluky, has been really bad, like worse than a league. And we know all of a sudden with Rodgers here, Steelers red zone O has been great. So can you feast on that situation? Maybe. The other thing they don't defend well is the short, quick passing game. Well, I mean, that's all the Steelers do. So again, I'm not saying abandon the run, but I think you nickel and dime to death with Rodgers' mind and quick release. And you hopefully get down to the red zone and score touchdowns and not field goals. That being said, I expect a tight game. I expect a low-scoring game. Browns games in general, as you would imagine with a great D, terrible O, produce very little yardage, very few points. The over-under and all that stuff implies a low-scoring game. But I do think the Steelers' defense has a chance to make a lot of big plays. And I got the Steelers winning this game 17-13. But it's a game they could lose. I mean, there's no question about it. Or they could really beat them pretty strongly. I mean, I could see that as well. It wouldn't shock me if this game was 24-10 and the Steelers were in control the whole time. I just think the Browns defense, I just have a lot of respect for the Browns defense. And do we know that the Steelers run defense against Judkins is where we want it to be at this point? I lean a little more towards yes. All right, that's going to do it. I'll come back to you sometime on Sunday after the game to recap things. Over and out.